Hey everyone, Dan McKenzie here with McKenzie Law Firm. We are a law firm located in the Denver, Colorado area focused on estate planning, estate administration, and small business counsel. And one question we get a lot from our clients, especially when they're doing their plan, is how will this affect the administration? I mean, that's kind of the purpose of why you're doing this, right? Is you want an easy administration. You want your family, like if you pass away, especially if you pass away unexpectedly, you want your family to be able to get control of your assets and do what they need to do and not really miss a beat as easy as possible. We hear that just about every day. I want to keep this simple. I want it to be as easy as possible for my family to carry on. And so, absolutely, that is why people are doing estate planning. And I think having a plan certainly increases the chances quite a bit that things are going to happen the way you want them to happen, and they're going to happen faster and with less friction if you have a plan in place than if you don't. But we can't guarantee it, and so just thought I'd make a video discussing why we can't guarantee it. And there's a few reasons. Creating the plan and carrying out the plan are always two different steps, right? So I mean, if I was like a high school student and have this goal to become a doctor someday, like I can create the plan on how to do that. Like I need to go to a prestigious university. I need to major in some sort of hard science or other challenging major that leads to, the knowledge that you need to be a doctor. I need to graduate with a high GPA. I need to get a prestigious internship. I need to set aside this kind of time to study for the standardized test to get into medical school, and then I need to apply to this number of schools. So there's the plan. I now have a plan in place. And I think everyone would agree that having that plan certainly makes it more likely that if I'm that student, I am going to become a doctor someday. But it's certainly no guarantee, right? I mean, there's a lot of factors that still go into actually carrying out the plan, actually getting into that prestigious university, actually majoring in that hard science and doing well in it. I'm sure if you went to college, you probably knew a few people who came in intending to be doctors and then ran into organic chemistry, and there went that idea. So sometimes things just get derailed for reasons that we just can't anticipate. Another example is like if I'm driving to some state across the country, like I might pull up my map on my Google Maps and come up with a route and figure out how much time it's going to take and plan which hotels I'm going to go to along the way. And again, that certainly increases the odds that I'm going to get there in some sort of efficient way and time that's expected and all that. But a weather phenomenon can happen. There could be traffic that was not anticipated. I could have some sort of health thing happen or something like that. There's just 100 things that could happen that would just derail that plan. So same thing, frankly, in the estate planning and estate administration area, right? So you can write down whatever you want in your plan. I can say, look, I want to leave $1 million to my sister and then another $1 million to my kids and, whatever else I want to say. I can say it. There's nothing stopping me. I write down that, in my will or whatever. I sign it according to will formalities, and there you go. I have a will saying do all this stuff. Well, what if I don't have the money that I said I wanted to give away, right? Now, my personal representative might have to figure that out. What if I have creditors come in that I hadn't really expected? A lot of people, when I bring up creditors, are very focused on the debts that they currently have, and of course that is somewhat indicative of what your family might run into. But you can pick up debts at the same time that you pass away. Actually, that happens a lot. You can have medical bills, like you can pass away in some sort of accident that results in litigation. You could just have some sort of not a huge liability, but still just a creditor who's just a big pain in the butt. Sometimes that happens in probate processes where we're dealing with somebody who's very loud and insistent. And we just hadn't anticipated that. And so we've got the plan saying to do these various things, but how, who the players are is not entirely certain when we're making the plan. So we got to kind of anticipate that possibility. And then, sometimes estates just are, some are easier to administer than others just because they're more liquid. And by that I mean, look, if I have a $5 million estate, so that's, most people would consider that to be a pretty big estate, and it's made up entirely of publicly traded stocks, my house, some cash in the bank, like nothing very exotic at all, nothing that would be hard to sell tomorrow if I had to sell it. Like that's going to be pretty easy. If I don't have a huge, any sort of unusual tax liabilities or anything like that, that can be very, very simple. That can be done very fast. I might have a $500,000 estate, so 10% the size, and if that $500,000 estate has commercial real estate in it, or unique personal property that the kids kind of want, or other business interest, like closely held business interest, I might have a will that says leave everything equally to my kids. It might be very short, so people look at that will and then they look at the size of my estate and they're thinking, okay, short will, not crazy valuable estate, this is going to be simple. Well, how quickly can we sell that real estate, right? I mean, what if the kids want it? Like, what if they want, again, if there's personal property that we can't just easily value and divide equally, that could be a problem too. So sometimes we have, more modest estates with pretty clear directions, and it's still really hard to administer. So that, can't really count on that either. And then, of course, sometimes the law changes, or there's just legal things that happen that people really don't anticipate. Again, when people are doing planning, when they come to us, they're almost always focused on who's getting my stuff when I pass away, and they're thinking about their kids, and obviously that's their main concern, and that's totally understandable. But again, creditors are out there. So in Colorado, the court views your creditors in the same way that they view your kids or your beneficiaries, right? They need to be part of the process. They need to be dealt with. You need to be open and honest with them, so they're kind of on the same level there. And so again, who those people are and what they're owed is kind of an issue. Sometimes there's tax liabilities we hadn't anticipated. Most people have an income tax return. If we have assets with large capital gains, built up in them. If we have a lot of IRA savings, like money that has not been taxed yet because it's in a retirement account, all these things that are really not that unusual, frankly, can really kind of slow things down or just make us stop and just do a little research and make sure we don't want to pull all the money out of your IRA and then find out we just created this huge tax liability that we could have avoided if we had waited a little bit or distributed it to one particular person or done something like that. So sometimes that slows things down too. And again, it's not always easy to anticipate. So there's just a number of factors there where it's I wish I could tell you we're going to draft your plan and then it's going to be easy to administer because we got these clear instructions that we've created and everyone, no one disagrees with them or anything like that. Well, we just don't know. We just don't know if that's going to be the case or not. That does not mean, you shouldn't do the plan. Like I said with my example about, if you want to become a doctor, that's a hard thing to do. You better come up with a plan. You're not just going to meander your way into becoming a doctor, right? If you want to drive, again, from Colorado to New York, you better look at a map. You better kind of figure it out. You're not just going to go out and, head east and hit New York eventually. That's not a great idea. So the plan is still really important, but you need to be aware that sometimes the administration is also, it doesn't really, we can't really predict exactly how that's going to go. And so sometimes it's easier than anticipated, sometimes it's not. And so you can think about that. After you put together the plan, you really should think through okay, how is this going to happen? I've got another video on the mechanics of how, if I've said I want to give this dollar amount to this charity or to this family member who's not one of my kids before my kids split the money, I need to think through a little bit. How is that actually going to happen? Do I need a life insurance policy? Do I have enough cash at all times to satisfy that? Is it going to be easy for my personal representative or my trustee to actually do that? So that's kind of part 2 of the planning. Get the document in place and then think through how is this actually going to take place. So, and that can make your administration quite a bit easier. So we really like to walk clients through that conversation and make sure that that's also on their minds and not just, again, divide everything equally between my kids. That's helpful, but certainly not the end of the story on putting together a plan. So hopefully this gets you thinking. If you want to have that conversation with us, if you're in Colorado, especially in the Denver area, we are very happy to talk with you. Our phone number is 303-578-2745. Again, we are the Mackenzie Law Firm, and we hope to hear from you. Thanks for watching.